when in a better land. Before the throne I stand, how deeply grieved our souls may be, if any lost one there should cry out in deep despair. You never mention him to me.
More sinners, backsliders, see people who say them are Christians live more ungodly life than how they live a godly life. Them have neighbor we are sinner and backsliders, and they never mention Jesus Christ of Nazareth, much less God to them. Not even say, come let me pray for you. Not even turn up at the fence and say, come let me pray for you.
Jesus to me.
Yesterday I went into Digicel. And when I went in there, one of the young ladies said, Pastor Brown, anytime she saw me, she always said, pray for me. And she said, I want you to pray for me. And there was a gentleman that was standing there. And when she said it, he said, I want you to pray for me too. And right in the Digicel store, I stand and I pray. I didn't care who listened, who watching. And I opened this mouth. And when I finished, she said, thank you. And the man said, thank you. He said, I felt your prayer. And he turned to me and he said, do you have cards that you have? He said, where is your ministry? I said, online. He said, do you have cards? I said, I don't have any now. He said, you need to have some. You need to have some. Because right now I would have take one. And it, you know, when you can hear a sinner say they felt your prayer, because number one, person look at me and said, oh, she's no pastor. They judge me by my hair or so on. But I tell people, it's not what one sees who is in me. And I don't beg friend when it comes to my God. And I say this all the time, I can win any soul. Any souls for God. Whether you're a thief, gunman, lesbian, prostitute, homosexual. Because what? God has placed it in me. I don't have to go nowhere and tell a person, said, oh, I'm a pastor. I don't have to. Yesterday I was talking to somebody. And the person looked at me and said, you know you don't be a good boss. I said, yes. Because the way I was talking to the person, because it's as if the person don't know those stuff, and I was talking, it was like, you would be a good boss. I said, yes. Person must use the authority that God gives to them, and that is why I said a lot of you Christians and leaders are in big trouble with God. Because there are many souls out there. Well, a lot of our sons are Christians as wounded. Many of our sons are leaders as wounded. You understand me? Many of our gospel singers as wounded. Some of our neighbors live in front of you. And you just have gone to the building Saturdays or Sundays and you never say, listen, I invite you to the house of God. You never go out the gate and call and say, can I have a word with you? Can I just pray with you? When you do those things, listen, they will start to look out to see if your neighbor. I remember I was living at this place. You see, I tell people, you know, the life for you live will speak for you, you know. And I remember the young man ended up in the hospital. And while he was there in the hospital, his mother-in-law asked for my number. And she said, I want you to pray for so-and-so is in the hospital. I always pray. When I go to that place, God always bids me to pray for that person. And when I called the person, he said, I'm in the hospital. I said, I hear. And he said to me, my blood pressure not going down. And they said they're not letting me out. He keep before it go down, it'll go up. I said, well, it'll go down now. And I said, God, I was saying it to God in my heart, I'm going to pray for this man, and God show him. And I pray for him. And I said, listen, call me and tell me what the doctor said. About an hour after, he called me and he said, I'm going home. I said, what you mean? He said, the doctor come and test my pressure gone right down. Even, I think last month I talked to him and he was like, I was telling him, it was somebody about you, I will never forget you, and it is a sinner. And a lot of when we son are Christian, when we sit down and feed and teach, you know, become ungrateful like the devil. More sinners out there. Not everyone, because you have some sinners, them ungrateful. You have some backside because they don't need God. But you have some sinners out there, they're grateful than some people say them are Christian and leaders. You will pray for some sinners and then believe with all of them heart. And you pray for some Christian and them have to see miracle if you believe. You hear what I just said? And you have someone who is son or Christian. Neighbor see the life want to live saying no right. People want to involve in a relationship, sister, want to not live no life. So no can't tell them about God. No children. People want to know. This is what I can't understand. The amount of people, so many I want to know. I want to say no Christian, I can't bring them to God. It's a shame. Lot I want to know sinners and backsliders. I want to never tell them about God. And that is why I said don't hate me on social media. Because I'm not preaching to please none of you. I preach to please God. And as long as in these days you are going to please God, you are going to be hated by evil them who say them are do for God. Because that I don't believe is every leader on on social media is of God. And many of them are so them are prophet, them are prophetess. Me see one the other night, me go through social media. Right? They know it's a funnel. And I was like, look at these people running down these people. And everybody, oh, I hear the Lord is saying, you want to know which God he might talk about. I hear the Lord is saying, and he might go through your phone and he might look on his screen. Oh, that person, the Lord is saying, you have to sow a seed towards this, and he's going to do this. I hear the Lord is saying that he's going to open door, but you have to sow a seed. I hear the Lord said you have to move from that place, but you have to sow a seed. And I was like, you have to sow a seed to move from that place, and the Lord do it for you. You have to sow a seed, and he was telling them how to sow the seed, and I was like, look at this. Look at this. And yet the word of God that God said, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds. People don't believe in the word of God, but they believe in these prophets. The same way, you as a good woman, that man will hurt you. For somebody who don't love him. You as a good man, so that woman will hurt you. As some will mix when me I preach. For somebody who don't love him. God who love us, who sent his son to die for us. People rather the devil, choose the devil, love the devil over God. And when God's word said they are children of the devil, no vex. Let us know sinners, backsliders, Christians and leaders are children of the devil. And that is why no matter what I do me on social media, because I know you hate me and I fight against me. Many of you will consider this or watch even say hello to me. You don't hate me, you don't like me, but you still follow the page. That's what God's word said again to them. They come and sit and they listen his word, but their heart is far from. You don't come on, pan your far. You don't like me, but you don't come on. You don't like me, but you don't come there sitting and watching. You don't come on for. As some people used to say hello, they don't anymore. You have to be careful of these nowadays people. Listen to me. Not because they follow up your page that don't say they are with you. The same way that our son are Christian, but who no bringing into God and his son.
But